Okay, so have you ever really thought about how a single metal could completely reshape a nation's entire future? Well, today we're diving into a national blueprint from South Africa. This is a country sitting on some of the world's biggest titanium reserves, and they've laid out this incredibly ambitious plan to build their economic, industrial, and even their geopolitical power all on the foundation of this one element. Let's break down exactly how they plan to pull it off.
So what is it about titanium that makes it so special? The source material just nails the description here. It's called South Africa's aerospace and medical metal. And why? Because it's lightweight, it's corrosion-proof, and, this is the key, it's strategically irreplaceable. This isn't just another mineral you dig out of the ground. It's the absolute cornerstone for some of our most critical, high-tech industries.
And right here is where you see that strategic value in the real world. I mean, we're talking about the aviation industry, where every single ounce counts. We're talking about defense systems that absolutely depend on its incredible strength. And then there are medical implants, things like artificial hips and knees that have to be perfectly compatible with the human body. And of course, high-performance manufacturing, where there's literally no substitute. This stuff is at the very heart of modern tech.
Now, the source document lays out this huge, comprehensive 12-pillar strategy. To really wrap our heads around it, we've grouped those pillars into 4 core themes that kind of build on each other. We'll start with the metal itself, then we'll get into how the plan aims to seize economic control, build a massive industrial engine, drive next-gen innovation, and finally, how it all culminates in projecting global influence.
All right, so we get why titanium is the cornerstone. Now let's dig into the first major piece of this blueprint, how they plan to lay the financial groundwork to control this incredibly valuable resource.
So, the very first phase of this strategy is all about taking charge. See, it's not enough to just dig the metal out of the ground and sell it. The real goal here is to control the entire titanium value chain, from the source all the way to the final sale. That's how you make sure the economic benefits actually stay inside the country.
And this illustrates their two-pronged attack perfectly. On one side, you've got the commodity desk. Think of it as the gatekeeper. It controls the raw material, setting prices, export rules, the whole shebang, for everything from raw ore to sophisticated alloys. Then, on the other side, you have the sovereign fund. This acts like the nation's investment portfolio, and its job is to capture the profits from the finished, high-value products, the parts being sold to Boeing, Airbus, or medical companies. So one controls the source, and the other captures the value. It's a really smart setup.
Okay, so they've got a plan for financial control. But what good is that if you can't actually make anything with the metal? That brings us to the next massive phase of the plan, building the national industrial power needed to transform that raw titanium into world-class high-tech products.
And this is the absolute heart of that industrial engine. The blueprint calls for a fully integrated industrial cluster that handles every single step of the process. It starts, obviously, with mining. From there, it moves to processing the ore, then producing what's called titanium sponge. That's the pure form of the metal. After that, they create advanced alloys. Then comes the really high-value part, manufacturing actual aerospace and medical components. And finally, managing all the export logistics. It's about owning the entire chain, from the mine right to the global market.
Of course, an engine that powerful needs a serious support system. The plan details 3 critical pillars for this. First, you've got to have an ecosystem of small and medium-sized businesses, the specialists in things like precision machining. Second, you need dedicated trade schools to train a whole new generation of skilled workers in cutting-edge fields like 3D printing. And third, you need the actual physical infrastructure, specialized transport corridors, dedicated aerospace parks, and modern export terminals to get the goods out.
All right, having the money in the factories is great for today, but what about tomorrow? How do you stay on top? The next part of this blueprint is all about innovation. It's about ensuring the country doesn't just participate in the titanium industry, but actually leads it for decades to come. This, right here, is the long-term play. And at the core of that vision is a national research hub. This chart shows us exactly where they're putting their money. Look at that. A huge chunk is going into aerospace metallurgy and additive manufacturing, which is just another way of saying 3D printing. These are the absolute cutting-edge fields. But they're also targeting super specialized areas like medical-grade alloys and corrosion science. It's a really focused approach to innovation.
But this innovation isn't just a shot in the dark. It's all guided by some pretty sophisticated predictive modeling. The idea is to forecast global demand for aerospace parts, to track the growth in medical implants, and to analyze future defense needs. This allows them to innovate ahead of the curve, creating the technologies the world is going to need tomorrow, not just today.
And this innovation isn't just happening in a lab, it has a real-world impact. The strategy connects it directly to sustainability, with plans for things like low-waste processing and green alloy production. And it's even tied to urban development through city renewal projects, creating dedicated aerospace districts and medical tech hubs that become these amazing centers of excellence. So that brings us to the final, and let's be honest, probably the most ambitious part of this entire blueprint. Taking all of that economic and industrial strength and turning it into real geopolitical influence on the world stage.
So how exactly do you turn a metal into global might? Well, through diplomatic leverage. Think about it. When you control a critical supply chain for aerospace and medical technology, you have something incredibly valuable to offer other countries. The plan is to use this techno-diplomacy to build and strengthen strategic relationships with partners like the BRICS nations, other African countries, and key global defense alliances. It's all about becoming an indispensable partner.
And this quote from the source, it just says it all, doesn't it? This is the end goal. This is the grand vision, to become Africa's aerospace materials anchor and global titanium alloy authority. I mean, that's not just about being a supplier. That is a statement of leadership, a powerful declaration of intent.
So after walking through this entire blueprint, from controlling the finances to building the industry, driving innovation, and projecting power, we're left with this one big question. Can a focused strategy built entirely around a single strategic metal really redefine a nation's future? The plan is nothing short of audacious, for sure. But it gives us a fascinating look at how a country might leverage its natural resources to forge a completely new path for itself.